Hi everyone, my name is Vitaly Glebochkin, co-founder of Retouch4me, and in this webinar I will be talking about skin retouching. So the agenda for today is like 4 steps natural retouch workflow, uh, some real cases and pro scenarios of retouching the images and how to avoid common mistakes while you're retouching your images, no matter you're using AI or your manual retoucher. And at the end, you will get some bonuses and resources for all attendees. So keep watching till the end. So as I said before, all modern cameras have lots of megapixels, and high resolution cameras capture everything. And if you zoom in the image, for example, if you're shooting full length of maybe group shots and you have 60 megapixels camera, so you zoom in and you see all this imperfection that you need to do something. So yeah, detail overload creates visual noise. So sometimes when you look at the picture and those details maybe distract your view, and you need to do something like retouch the skin. But the main question about retouching is that you need to fix and retouch the skin in the very specific way, so the person should stay the same person as it was before when you shoot it. So the main idea behind retouching the skin is to keep permanent features about the person and remove temporary flaws, artifacts, pimples, acne, and so on. So when you shoot at people and the person has molds, for example, on the face or some scars, you definitely need to ask, should you keep it or retouch? So in most cases, people love to keep your personality, and you need to pay attention to this. But all other stuff on the face, for example, like shiny, oily skin on the forehead or some acne and pimples, so you need to do something with it. Let's return back. And what mistakes do you see on these images? So there are 2 examples. So the first one and the second one. The teeth, yes. So sometimes during editing, you can make the teeth look too bright. This is not good for the person when the teeth are shining on the photograph. The skin is also the key. Yeah. So in the first example, we don't see pores, we don't see skin texture. So sometimes we have the problem with eyes or teeth. If I made them too bright, sometimes there are some difference in color shades all over the skin, or you can get over smooth skin. I saw some examples when people retouch the images with really zoomed in and very detailed. But when you zoom out and you see the whole image on the screen, sometimes you can see that there are some small imperfections on the skin. So you can get the example number 1 in this case. So sometimes you need to zoom out to see all your image if to be portrayed. And the scars also. So some man has some scars on the face, so you need to keep them also. So in most cases, the golden rule will be don't harm the original pixels. And if you still have the original image, you can just roll back, fix something, and get the desired result. So in this case, you see the screen from the Photoshop and you see the whole layered structure of all retouching layers. So if you need to fix something, you can go to the specific layer and fix it. Or maybe you are using masks on your images. They also can be deleted or draw once again, so you can fix all you need on your image. So let's go through the stages of retouching your images. So the first stage was removing temporary distractions, and in this case, you need to start with some small imperfections on the skin. So you need to zoom in and try to find all small imperfections that are temporary for your subject at this moment. So in this case, you see some acne on the forehead and you have to delete it. So for example, here is the perfect shot, studio shot with perfect lighting. There is a model and with a perfect makeup. But if you zoom in, you can see lots of imperfections here. So on the forehead, and all over the face. So you need to do something that on the first stage, you need to delete some small or retouch small imperfections on the skin. So using AI, it's really simple. For example, I'm using a retouching panel. So the panel is free, but you have to buy each plugins separately, or you can use your cloud retouching credits for retouching your images. So in this case, I can only just hit this play button next to the heal plugin, and I get all my retouching on the separate layer. This is how it looks like. And let me zoom in and show you before and after. So this is how it works. If you need to do this manually, so you need to take healing brush in Photoshop and go over the whole face, clicking and clicking and clicking. But using AI, you can do it in one click. So this is like the first stage of your retouching. So in some cases, all you need to do is just delete all these small imperfections. Just let me show you the example. For example, this one. And I have an action. So I recorded an action with the heal plugin. So I ran it 3 times on different layers. And in this case, we have a bodybuilder and they have lots of things that you need to delete from the skin like this. So this is how it works. So I think that's all that you need to do for such an image. So you delete it, small imperfections all over the skin. And I think that's all for this image. You don't need to smooth out the skin here, right? Okay, let's go back to the presentation. So the second part, as soon as you delete some small imperfections on the skin, you have to deal something with the skin. So you need to smooth out the skin all over the face, and then you need to draw 3D map all over your face. So as soon as you make some areas of the skin brighter, they will appear closer, or some darker areas appear far from the viewer. So when you're working only with luminance or brightness, so you can smooth out the skin without changing the texture. All right, let me share the Photoshop. So I will show you how it works. Or maybe Lightroom. So here is the original image that I took. So it looks really nice, but this is 60 megapixels camera, and if you zoom in the image really closer, you can see all these small imperfections on the face. It's a post acne, and you need to do something with it. So on the shooting stage, you can choose the proper lighting for the face, put lighting right in front of the subject, like here I have a softbox, and you can soften the skin. But when you're shooting outside, you have a sun, and sun goes right from the top and hit the face with the angle all along the skin, so you can see all these imperfections on the face. So in here, just go edit in Photoshop. Let me share the Photoshop screen. All right, so here I can start with dodge and burn. Portrait volume, skin tone. We'll return to that later. So I just choose free plugins for this image. Click refresh. Sorry, click retouch. Just wait a little bit. So it is better to use the panel because panel is like the set of actions, and it is choosing the plugins in the very specific way for each image. So all you need to do is just to choose the plugins that you want to apply to the image and click retouch button. Just check the before and after. Before and after. Let's check the face. Let me zoom in. So the first layer, which is heel layer, small imperfections, and then you need to do something with the skin. You need to smooth out the skin. So you can use dodge and burning manually, but if you're working manually, you have to draw like this. So here is the dodge and burn mask on neutral gray layer. So it is really hard to draw manually in such a short time, and sometimes if you're doing dodging and burning, you can change the shape of the face of your subject. But in this case, I can change the blending mode in Photoshop to the soft light, and here is the before and after. And also at the end, you can increase 3D feeling of your photograph. So you can use portrait volumes, maybe just increase a little bit. So before and after. So this is how it works. So here is the portrait volumes mask. So there's a really detailed, and you need to spend lots of time to do this manually. And if you need to change something, you have all retouching as layers, so you can just go on the specific layer, for example, heel layer, and restore moles if you need to. Maybe, I don't know, I think these two moles can be restored. You can just draw it using the mask here, for example. Just took a brush with the dark color and draw over the mask where you need to get back your moles on the face, like this. And that's all. Let me zoom out and turn on other layers. So this is the shot. All right. So after you smooth out the skin on the face, you need to do something with the color. If you shoot people outside on the windy weather, or maybe during the winter, so you need to do something with the skin, and on not only on the face but also on arms. So you need to fix red nose, red ears, red cheeks, and all you need to do is just go to Photoshop. Let me show you. So if you're working manually, you can change the skin color using, for example, the separate layer in color mode and just painting over the layer with the specific color. But if you have lots of such images, you will spend days for, I don't know, 100 images just for fixing the color of them. Let me show you the winter example somewhere. This one. Just go to the retouching panel, and we have a plugin which is called Skin Tone. So if you need to run the single plugin from the panel, you can just click on this play button next to the plugin name. If you need to apply different plugins in a row, so you can just choose them and click retouch. So in this case, just pay attention to the hand. So here's before and after. Let me zoom in, before and after, and check the ear and some cheeks. So if you think this is too much, you can just go to the opacity of the specific layer and just decrease the opacity slider to 50%, for example. And it's done. So before and after, before, after. It looks really natural. All right, let's move on next. So final polish, for example, if you're shooting people with flashlight, on some parties or you're shooting people during the day and you need to make the eyes shadows brighter, so you use flash and you can see some oily shine on the face, so you need to do something with it. So let me go to the Photoshop and just find the example of this. For example, this one. So we have a specific plugin for this purpose, which is called Mattifier. So this is how it works. So before and after. It works on 50%. You can just increase it more like this or decrease the opacity to get the desired look. Also, you can just set the effect of each plugin before running. Here, just click this arrow button and set it right on the panel. So this is how it works before after. All right. Now maybe I can find more examples. Oh, that's perfect. It's right from the body. So just click play button next to the Mattifier. Maybe you can just increase it more and let me show you before and after. So this is how it works. So in most cases, when people trying to fix oily shine skin on the face, they go to raw editor, for example, Lightroom, and they decrease the highlights slider. So by doing this, you decrease the highlights not only of the face, but on all photograph. So you are just compressing the whole dynamic range of your image. But in this case, while using AI plugin, you can work with the brightness locally on the specific areas on the face here, before and after. Let me zoom in just in case. So this is how it works. Looks really natural. So if you're shooting people on, for example, wedding banquet, and there are lots of people dancing, moving, laughing, and you need to use flash during the evening, so you will get such oily shine on the skin like this, but you can fix it in just one click. All right, let me check if you have some questions in the webinar chat. That's questions from Meredith about using face make plugin from ARMS and does not appear. Yeah, you can go to online chat on our website. It works like every day, every hour. So you can type your questions there. So sometimes you need to just reinstall the plugin to see it in ARMS. So by the way, ARMS is our AI editor tool for batch processing and for cooling your images. And sometimes when you're using artificial makeup, and sometimes if you have a hair all over the face, sometimes it goes to the hair on the face. Yes, I hope we'll fix it someday. When you're using skin tone, do you need to use skin mask? So the skin mask works perfectly, and it masks all the skin all over the body, and during the retouching by layers, you will get the folder in Photoshop with all retouching layers for the skin. This is the key. So is there a way to batch retouch all open files in Photoshop? Current batch retouch will let me select a folder instead, but I just want to batch retouch all open files and keep them open. So there is no such opportunity for now, but maybe in the future. So thank you for the question, Lofote. Maybe we'll make such thing in the future panel. Why is the filter apps appears there? Maybe, but no ARMS available for Photoshop. So ARMS, it's not the plugin, it's like the separate app. So it is better to use it separately. If you want to use multiple plugins in one interface using Photoshop, you can use Apex. So Apex is our plugin, but it works only in the cloud without local licenses. All right, let's go back to the presentation. Just let me know, guys, if some of you use frequency separation for image editing. So frequency separation is a method when you can separate the really small details like pores, pimples on the face from the skin texture, from the skin like small contrast details, and the color of your portrait and the form of your portrait. I don't see any people using frequency separation. It's only for the mad retouchers, I think. I don't feel I don't feel the need to use frequency separation after using heal and dodge and burn. That is, yes, it's from Timnia. I always wanted to explore frequency separation, but never had the time. Yes, it's really time consuming. By the way, we have a free plugin which is called frequency separation, obviously. And using this plugin, you can prepare your image for future editing by dividing it in 2 or 3 frequencies. But it's really time consuming. If you have, for example, really bad skin and you need to replace the texture on the face, or do something with the lighting and shaping, yeah, you can use frequency separation, but in this case, this plugin only splits the image in 3 or 2 frequencies, and then you need to do manually work with them. So what is the difference between Apex and the Photoshop panel? So using the Photoshop panel, you can get the access. So it's like the set of actions. And using the Photoshop panel, you can use local plugins, or you can use cloud plugins in the cloud and pay not for the license per each plugin, but you can just play for retouching credits and pay only per retouch. In case of the panel saves the retouching results as layers also in Photoshop, but using Apex, which is only the cloud app, you can save only the resulting image, but using the Apex, you can apply at once 11 tools, 11 plugins for the image. No matter how many tools you need to apply, you will pay only per one retouch. And in the Apex, you can see in real time, just when you click on the specific tools on the interface, you will see immediately the result. So this is why many people use it for like quick editing, or if they don't have fast computers, they have, for example, old laptops, they can use Apex, because using cloud retouching, your images will be retouched on our cloud servers and you will get retouched versions back. All right. There is questions about using or retouching black and white images. So in older versions of plugins, we have some problems with black and white images, but now they work nice with black and white. So maybe you can just need to update your license. By the way, if you buy plugins as a license, they have lifetime value, so you can update for free. So you can just go to your personal account and download it, the updated version. What is the suggested order to apply plugins? I think you can just use the panel in Photoshop, and the panel applies the plugin in the best way for your image. So all you need to do is just click the plugins that you want to apply to the image, and click then retouch button. That's all. So question from Evelina: are you planning to add messy hair remover? Yeah, we are teaching this plugin for this time. It will be in the future, definitely. Yes. On the plugin, on the right of each plugin, in a drop menu, there are 3 icons, a bracket, and 2 different people. Can you explain this? All right, so let me go to Photoshop. For example, Mattifier. Yes. So all these buttons need to point how close your subject in the image. And the closer your subject, for example, if you have a really close-up shot, the plugin will pay attention to the big imperfections on the face. If you choose the full-length human icon, the plugin will pay attention by really small details all over the face. So by choosing between different icons, you can choose and point the plugin to pay attention to the smaller or bigger details or imperfections on the face, for example. But in most cases, the plugins works great in auto mode, so you don't need to choose anything else here. Maybe I can show you some images somewhere here, for example. All right, let me zoom in. Let's go to the filter menu and let's run the heal plugin. So all these small dots, white dots on the face, there are areas that plugin fix that texture. And as soon as I choose half length portrait, those areas will be smaller. If I choose full length portrait, so you will get some small dots all over the face. So this is how it works. So if you need to delete, for example, from the close-up portrait, here is some feature, and you need to deal with some black pores on the face, so you can set the full length portrait for close-up portrait, and the plugin will pay attention to the really small details of your portrait. Also, there is a sensitivity slider, and you can set the sensitivity for the heal plugin or for you can set the effect for other plugins. So just click apply. Here is the mask. Here's the areas that I retouched. All right, let's get back to the frequency separation. Yes, so you can use frequency separation for um, very bad images, let's say. And if you need to edit lots of images, this is not your tool because it's really time consuming. There are lots of manual editing there. You can adjust everything, but you have to do it manually. You will spend lots of time and you will need to be skilled to use this tool. Okay, let's move on to the practice. Maybe I will show you some more examples of using our plugins. Let's go to the Photoshop. Just give me a second. All right, let's start with this image. Looks like a business portrait. All you need to do is just go to the panel, choose the plugins that you want to apply to this image. For example, Heal, maybe Mattifier, but I just decrease the opacity to 13. Dodge and burn, portrait volume, skin tone. Let me check the eyes. If I see some red blood vessels or not, it seems good to me. But I can use eye brilliance, white teeth, maybe skin mask. And I can also use fabric and clean backdrop plugins here. Click retouch. So the panel automatically creates separate layers, and on each layer you will get your retouching of the specific plugin. So if you need to change something, you can go to the layers and do it there. So I'm using local plugins now. I'm working on my MacBook Pro M1 processor. So in the real time, you can see how it works. We have a batch processing in the panel also, so you can just click batch processing, batch retouching button here and choose the folder with your files, just and choose the format that you need to for edited files, and just run your batch processing. Retouch lots of files in a row if you need to. So yeah, you can see how it's working for this image. Here is the layers with retouching, and the panel runs the plugin in the best way. So that's all. That's done for this image. If you need to restore mole here, so here is the skin folder with the skin retouching. All you need to do is just go to heal layer, maybe use mask, or maybe just use erase tool, why not? And click there on the heal layer to get back the mole on the face, and that's all. So let's move on through the layer structure. So here is the eyes, white teeth, so before and after. Pay attention to the teeth. Fabric plugin. If you're shooting people in, you need to deal something with the wrinkles, folds like this before after. Looks natural, right? So the heal plugin works with small imperfections on the face. Let me undo the changes for other plugins. So here's the heal layer before and after. Mattifier. Pay attention to the oily skin on the face. If you need to increase it, so I set it on 30% only, like this. So I personally don't love to use it on 100% because when you hide all bright areas on the face, you will lose the face volume. So maybe like this. Here's the dodging and burn layer before and after. Some skin tone. In this case, I would also decrease the opacity of the layer, maybe on 30, and portrait volumes. Let me zoom out. So before portrait volumes and after. And the whole before and after. Like this. Before, after. Before, after. So all you need to do is just choose the plugins that you want to apply to the image. So as you see, I just choose them and click retouch button, and that's all. Okay, what do we have next? Here is a bright couple. So for example, in this image, if you need to speed up your process, you can just use the selection tool in Photoshop. Select only the heads here. So I don't need to apply white teeth plugin. I don't need to apply fabric, clean backdrop, and that's all. And click retouch. So in this case, the plugins will retouch only the selected area. So that's all. Before, after, let me zoom in. After, just check the face. This is pretty detailed image, so when you look at the image that far, you don't see any imperfections here on even the before image, so there is no any difference, maybe on the neck of the groom. But as soon as you zoom in, you can see all these imperfections. This is how it works. One more image. Let's choose group shot, for example, like this. Here you can apply, let's apply white teeth plugin and the fabric. So if you have smiling people on your images, it is better to brighten the teeth slightly, just a little bit, like this. And also pay attention to the clothes. Here is the fabric before and after. Let me feed the screen for after. And here is the teeth plugin on the group shot. Just look at the teeth before and after. Once again, before, after. So this is how it works. Let me go back to the chat. That makes sense. Thank you. You're welcome. Do you suggest to apply skin tone after dodge and burn but before ported volume? I think you can apply it before ported volumes or after. I think it doesn't matter. Questions about black and white. All right. Mhm. I can't remember, was it Retouch4me who had a video that really explains that frequency means? Yes, we have a specific video and it exactly explains what frequency means. So yes, you should find it on YouTube. For someone, frequency separation, frequency separation method is very fast for the lot of if you have actions in Photoshop, yes, but what's the difference between actions in Photoshop and our free plugin is that our plugin allows you to see the exact frequency without any others in real time. So before you separate your image on different frequencies, you can see the exact frequency layer just before you do it. Yes, separate this count today. So after, Dennis is asking, after every panel update, the cloud retouch settings get reset. So maybe you can use your retouching presets right in the panel. You can save your presets there. Then you can save it or load it. So maybe this will help after updating the panel. You can load your presets there. The question from Vladimir, I'm thinking if I'm working on the face make shelf, there is no way to specify the face that face make doesn't recognize. Yes, you can specify it, but for example, you can try to move your image if you have, for example, lying people on the floor. You can turn it counterclockwise, put it like straight in the image, or use a selection tool in Photoshop and select the face before running the plugin. For example, I'm gonna show this just in case on this image, for example. So first I need to merge all my visible layers in the one layer. Then I use selection tool in Photoshop, select face like this, maybe closer, maybe like this. Then go to the filter, Retouch4me, face make. So that's all. You can apply lifting here like this, or you can apply some makeup. So here's the before. I look at the face, the chin, and the after. So this is how the face make works. Click apply here, and here is my original image, and here is what I got. Yeah. To back the mask separate. Can the batch box also work with currently open documents in Photoshop? Not for now. Yes, thank you, Meredith, for the question. Maybe in the future we will make it. So Meredith is asking, I noticed sometimes the fabric also affects skin shadows on the full body shot. If you're using the newest retouching panel for Photoshop, this should be fixed there. And if you have a skin mask there also, so you can use skin mask and the fabric will work only with the fabric without going anywhere. Let's go to the questions and answers. If a face isn't recognized on the picture where the person is quite a small part of the picture, will selecting a part where the person stands help to recognize the face? Yes, I think it is. If you have really high megapixel image and you have really small person somewhere in the far, you can just use selection tool in Photoshop, select this person and run the plugin. This may help. Ralph is asking, do you have something that will add texture to skin? In the face make, we have this feature, but it doesn't work good without any like manual manipulation with the skin. Have a artificial skin textures, but maybe in the future we'll make it works better. But in most cases, you can use Heal, Dodge and Burn, and Ported Volumes plugin to retouch your images. In most cases, if you have skin texture on your original image, you will get it on the edit one. How can I add volume in the hair with the face make? All right, the question from Wick. Let me show you on this example. So let me zoom in, maybe like this. I think we have this feature in Retouch4me Apex. So let me show you, by the way, how it works. So I go to the filter, Retouch4me, Apex. So Retouch4me Apex is a cloud-based plugin. Here is the image. You can just click here, start retouching. Here is my cloud created score. I have 51. So I need to wait a little bit. And as soon as I get my retouched version, I can go to the lifting here. So as soon as I already retouched this image, I will uncheck other plugins. And in the lifting, we have also hair volume slider. So here is how it works, just in real time. And if you're working in the old version of Retouch4me Apex, you can update it because you can separate your faces on the image by gender here. So here's the female face. So this is how the hair volume works in Retouch4me Apex. All right. All plugins can do batch editing. Yes. So actually you can edit your images. So all plugins can be installed like plugins in Photoshop or like a standalone app. So you can open standalone apps as a heal, for example, load the folder with your files there and retouch. Okay, guys, let's move on to the presentation. So the main tips for using AI, if you have repetitive tasks, you have retouching routine, and all the procedures that you can automate, you should automate. Also, you have to have the ability to keep your controls and set the desired effect for the every image. And in this case, if you need to change something, in most cases, when you're working in Photoshop with a layered structure, you can just decrease the opacity of the layer. So this is really fast. And you can build really fast and safe workflow for your images when you're using batch retouching, and save your edited files as TIFFs with the layered structure inside. So you can just open them in Photoshop and change wherever you need. So, but in most cases, when people retouching lots of files, for example, weddings, people just start batch retouching, then go to sleep, go to somewhere, play with kids, come back and just check the retouched images. So this is also the great example of using the AI retouching for the skin. So I I saw lots of questions about discounts for today. So for this webinar, for all participants, we will have 20% discounts on cloud retouching packs and our license for the plugins. So if you are working in the cloud, or you just want to try our plugins, you can just download Retouch4me Apex or install Photoshop panel, open the cloud retouching tab, and apply 20 free retouches for your image. For every new user, we have 20 free retouchers as a trial pack, but using this code until 1st of September, you can buy cloud retouching packs with 20% discount. Or you can buy plugins as a lifetime license using this code. So you can buy whatever plugins you need to for your work. How to remove baby hair on the face. It's about removing blonde facial hair that appear when using the flash. I think I will need an example of such an images. Never saw it before, let's say. So if you provide some images to us, Karim, for example, just one more tip, maybe a tip that maybe will help you. If you're using dust plugin on the face, so the dust plugin will fix some bright white imperfections on the face. For example, if you have like the person with a really dry, appealing skin on the face, you can use dust plugin on the face to make it looks better. Let me show you how it works in Photoshop. Maybe this will help to do something with tiny facial hairs on the face. Let me zoom in. So here is the great example of some dry peeling skin on the face. Sometimes you can see such skin on the newborns' faces. So all you need to do is just use selection tool and, for example, use dust plugin. So dust plugin was created for removing dust from some subject photography, but it works really nice with the skin. So here is the before and after. Let me zoom in. So maybe it will help you to do something with bright, small hairs on the face. So before and after. Now I have to buy it to try the dust plugin. So you don't need to buy it. You can just try a demo version. So you cannot save the image in the demo, but you can use the preview and just select the area on the face that where you need to apply the dust plugin and see what happens. Could you do a small sample of how to process frequency separation? Maybe in the separate video, because it's really it's not fast. It's time consuming retouching. Ralph is asking, why is dust not included with cloud retouch? Dust plugin is really time. It's maybe one of the like longest in time retouching plugins. So you need to really wait a lot to get the result. But if you're using it not in the cloud, but locally, it works fine. But for the cloud, this plugin is too slow for now. Maybe in the future we will include it to the cloud to use it in the cloud. This is why we don't have it. I will eventually own all your photography plugins. Lol. Yes, maybe. Actually, there are lots of images, so where you need the most of our plugins. So every person wear clothes, so you need fabric. Sometimes you need to deal something with the red blood vessels in the eyes, so you will need eyes plugins, eyes bundle. So you need to do something with the studio background if you're shooting in the studio. So you will need clean backdrop plugin. So let me show you how it works just in case. Maybe some of you will need it because there is no just perfectly clean studio background. You can see lots of imperfections on it. If you're shooting on the white background, so here you have a footprints, you have a, so this is a white paper background, and we were shooting for 2 days on the photo festival on this background, and you can see lots of mess on it. You need to do something with it, so you can just apply clean fabric, clean backdrop plugin to clean all this mess on the background. It is really to clean such background manually because it is so dirty that you don't even have the place where to copy the texture. This is how it works before and after. I think dodge and burn and clean backdrop are the most insane our plugins by this time. So as for the clean backdrop, it works like I don't know, it's like magic. Because you can also see all the shadows from the main subject here, and the picture really look natural, but it's clean. So this is how it works. And you don't need clean backdrop until you shoot people in the studio. As soon as you go to the studio, you will need this plugin, I think. Do you have a dark backdrop you can show with clean backdrop? So let me find it. Maybe I got it somewhere. So here is the example of dark background, and you need to fix it, right? So let's fix all the picture first. So I just go to the heel. Let me zoom out a little bit. I don't need Mattifier. I will definitely need Dodge and Burn portrait volume, skin tone. I don't need whiteys. I need fabric, skin mask. So here is the image. So I want to apply the plugins first that works with the skin. Okay, done. So here is the image before. Let me hide the panel. Oh, sorry. Feed screen, check the legs. There is some scar here, something before and after. Looks really awesome. All right, so here is the image that we got. And here is the dark background that you need to fix. And this is how you should fix it. So I will merge all layers together as a separate layer. Then I just select the floor here, press Command J, so I don't need this layer anymore. I have the floor layer here. Then I select this layer, press Command I or Control I on PC, Command I on Mac, and I will get the negative image of my floor. And on using this negative image, I just click with the command pressed, click the layer. So I select this part of the image. Then I go to the clean backdrop and run the plugin on this layer. So as soon as I made a negative image out of this, the plugin fix all these dark imperfections on the floor. So I just click Option and click between layers. Now I can just click Command E, merge two layers together, and I have the layer with the floor retouched. All I need to do now is just to press Command E, Command I, on Mac, or Control I on PC. Boom. That's all. Before, after. This is how it works with the dark backgrounds. It's a little trick from me, guys, to you. And let me show you before image. Just look at the leg here, floor, and after. Before, after. This is how it works. One small trick for using our plugins, just in case. Is it better for it to be a negative on dark drops? On dark, if you have a dark, you mean dark drops on white background or what? I don't understand exactly from what you just did. So yeah, if you have a dark backgrounds with some white things on it, you need to invert it, apply clean backdrop, invert it back. Yes, you don't need to use negative with white backgrounds. As for the white background, you just need to apply the plugin and that's all. Before, after. It actually trained to work with white backgrounds, but in this case, it's not an usual task for it. This is why I just made a negative image first, then apply clean backdrop, and I get the desired result. Thank you, I would never have thought of that. So this is why we have webinars, guys. It's really great for the viewers and for us also, because we have a live feedback, and in the live mode you can ask the question, the co-founder of Retouch4me, about using your plugins in the very best way to make your image look perfect. All right, I think that's pretty much all for today. So if you don't ever use our plugins and products, you can just apply 20 free cloud retouches using them in the panel or Retouch4me Apex. The perfect start for using AI, I think. It's free and you can save 20 images, 20 retouches on your images on your computer, so you can just check how our AI tools work. And here is the link for sharing your feedback. So I think that's all for today. My name is Vitaly Glebochkin, a co-founder of Retouch4me, and thank you for being here. I hope this webinar will be really helpful to improve your workflow, and your retouching will be much better than before after watching this. Thank you guys, and bye.